Do you ever find yourself holding back in life even when you desperately want to move forward? Is there a voice inside that whispers, you can't? Or what if you fail? Or they'll judge you? Maybe you avoid certain situations or find yourself pleasing others even when it goes against what you truly want. So many of us carry invisible chains from our past, fears that were born in childhood that still pull the strings in our adult lives, often without us even realizing it. You might be successful on the outside, but inside, these old fears are secretly running the show, keeping you from your fullest potential and truest happiness. But what if you could finally see these fears for what they are? Echoes from a younger time, and learn how to gently but powerfully conquer them now. That is exactly what we are going to explore together today. This is a journey of understanding, courage, and liberation. We're going to talk about how those fears we developed as children, often for very good reasons back then to keep us safe, can stick around and show up in unhelpful ways when we are grown-ups. We will look at common childhood fears that many adults still carry, like the fear of being left alone, the fear of not being good enough, or the fear of what other people think. We will uncover how these deep-seated fears might be showing up in your life right now, perhaps as anxiety, or always putting things off, or even in your relationships. But this is not just about understanding the problem. This is about finding solutions. We will share practical ways you can start to challenge these old fears, to question their power over you today. We will talk about how to build a sense of safety and trust within yourself so you don't feel so easily shaken. And we will even touch on how you can begin to face these fears step by step so they no longer control your choices. This is not about becoming fearless. Fear is a normal human emotion. This is about learning to manage your fear so it doesn't stop you from living the life you truly want. Many skilled people have learned to do this, and you can too. So if you are ready to understand those old childhood fears and finally start to conquer them, you are in the right place. Let's begin this important journey together. To really overcome these fears, we first need to understand how they even started. Where do these powerful feelings come from? Most of the fears that affect us as adults have their roots in our childhood. When we are children, we are very open and very vulnerable. We are learning about the world and how to be safe in it. And sometimes, things happen that scare us. Maybe as a child, you felt alone a lot. Perhaps your parents were very busy, or maybe they were not always there for you in the way you needed. That feeling of being alone, of not having that safe, secure connection, can create a deep fear of abandonment. Your little child brain learned being alone is scary and unsafe. And that fear was very real and very important for you then. It was trying to protect you. Or perhaps you grew up in a home where there was a lot of criticism. Maybe you were often told you weren't doing things right, or you weren't good enough. Or maybe you saw other people being harshly judged. Your child self might have learned, if I make a mistake, or if I am not perfect, bad things will happen. People will be angry, or they won't love me. This can lead to a deep fear of failure, or a fear of judgment. Again, that fear made sense then. It was a way to try and avoid pain. Sometimes, children experience things that are genuinely overwhelming or traumatic. This could be big things, like losing a loved one, or parents fighting a lot, or even experiencing some kind of abuse. Or it could be things that might seem smaller to a grown-up, but feel huge to a child, like being bullied at school, or getting lost in a store. In those moments, a child feels very scared and helpless. And that fear gets locked into their system. Their brain learns the world can be a dangerous place, and I am not always safe. These fears developed for good reasons at the time. They were your young mind's way of trying to make sense of difficult experiences and trying to keep you safe. If being quiet and invisible kept you from being yelled at, then being quiet became a safety strategy. If always trying to please others meant you got a little bit of love or approval, then people-pleasing became a way to survive. The problem is not that you developed these fears. The problem is that these old fear programs can keep running in your brain even when you are a grown-up, and even when the situation is completely different. That old fear that was helpful then can be very unhelpful and limiting now. It's like having an old computer program still running on a brand new computer. It doesn't fit anymore. It causes problems. Understanding that these fears had a purpose once can help us be kinder to ourselves as we start to work on them. So we know these fears often start in childhood. Now let's talk about some of the common lingering fears that many adults carry with them, often without even realizing where they came from. As we go through these, see if any of them sound familiar to you. Just noticing is a great first step. One of the most common and powerful fears is the fear of abandonment. This is that deep, gut-wrenching fear of being left alone, of people you care about leaving you, or as not being wanted. If this fear is strong for you, it might have started if you felt your parents weren't always there for you, or if you lost someone important when you were young, or even if you just felt very alone a lot as a child. This fear can be very painful. Another very common one is the fear of failure. This is the fear of not succeeding, of making mistakes, of not being good enough at what you do. It can make you terrified to try new things or to take risks. This fear often starts if you grew up in an environment where mistakes were punished or where you were only valued for your achievements. Or maybe you saw someone else fail and saw bad things happen to them. So you learned, failure is dangerous. I must avoid it at all costs. Then there's the fear of judgment or criticism. This is the fear of what other people will think of you. Will they approve? Will they like you? Will they say bad things about you? If this fear is big for you, you might find yourself always trying to please others, or being very careful about what you say and do. This often comes from childhood experiences where you were criticized a lot, or where you felt you had to be a certain way to be accepted. You learned that other people's opinions were very, very important, and often scary. The fear of conflict is another one that many adults struggle with. This is the fear of arguments, of disagreements, of anyone being angry. If you have this fear, you might go to great lengths to avoid any kind of conflict. You might always give in or say yes when you mean no, just to keep the peace. This fear often develops if you grew up in a home where there was a lot of fighting or where anger felt very unsafe. So, you learned that conflict was something to be avoided at all costs. And a very deep one is the fear of not being enough. This is a core fear that can hide under many other fears. It's that nagging feeling that you are somehow flawed, that you are not worthy of love or happiness just as you are, that you have to do more, be more, achieve more to finally be okay. This fear can start in many ways, maybe from not feeling seen or valued as a child, or from always being compared to others, or from just not getting your basic needs for love and acceptance met consistently. It's a heavy weight to carry. There are other common fears too, like the fear of rejection, the fear of intimacy or getting too close to someone, the fear of success, yes, that's a real thing, or the fear of the unknown. Take a moment to think. Do any of these fears resonate with you? Can you see how maybe, just maybe, some of the things that hold you back today might be connected to these old childhood fears? Just gently asking yourself these questions is a brave and important step. Many skilled people find that identifying these specific fears is like finding the right key to unlock a door. Now that we have looked at some common childhood fears, let's explore how these old fears actually show up in our adult lives. Because they don't usually announce themselves clearly, saying, "Hi, I'm your fear of abandonment from when you were 5." No. They are much sneakier than that. They often hide behind our everyday behaviors, our thoughts, and our feelings. Recognizing these adult manifestations is key to understanding how your past is still running your life. One of the most common ways these fears show up is as anxiety. That general feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease that you can't always explain, that could be an old childhood fear making itself known. For example, if you have a deep fear of failure, you might feel very anxious before a presentation at work, or even before trying a new hobby. If you have a fear of judgment, you might feel anxious in social situations, always worried about what others are thinking of you. This anxiety is like a constant background hum, draining your energy and stealing your peace. Procrastination is another classic manifestation. Do you find yourself putting things off, especially important things, even when you know you should do them? This is often driven by fear. If you fear failure, you might procrastinate because if you don't try, you can't fail. If you fear judgment, you might procrastinate because you're scared your work won't be good enough and people will criticize it. So you avoid starting. Procrastination is not usually about being lazy. It's often about being scared. People pleasing is another big one. Are you someone who always says yes, even when you want to say no? Do you go out of your way to make others happy, often at your own expense? This can be driven by a childhood fear of rejection, or abandonment, or conflict, or not being enough. Your inner child learned that pleasing others was a way to feel safe or to get love. So as an adult, you keep doing it, even if it leaves you feeling resentful or exhausted. Relationship issues are a huge area where these old fears play out. If you have a fear of abandonment, you might become very clingy or jealous in your relationships, always needing reassurance. Or you might do the opposite. You might push people away before they can leave you to protect yourself from that old pain. If you have a fear of intimacy, you might find it hard to let anyone get truly close, even if you long for connection. If you fear conflict, you might avoid important conversations in your relationship, letting problems build up until they explode. Our childhood fears create a blueprint for how we relate to others, and if that blueprint is based on fear, our adult relationships will suffer. Playing small is another way these fears can hold you back. This means not going for your dreams, not speaking your truth, not taking up space in the world. If you have a fear of failure or judgment, you might avoid taking on new challenges at work, even if you are capable. You might not share your creative ideas. You might stay in situations that are not good for you because you are afraid of the unknown. Playing small keeps you safe from your fears, but it also keeps you from living your fullest, most vibrant life. These are just some of the ways those old childhood fears can show up in your adult life. They can also manifest as things like low self-esteem, difficulty making decisions, chronic indecisiveness, a need for control, or even physical symptoms like headaches or stomach problems. The important thing is to start connecting the dots, to see how your current struggles might be linked to these old unresolved fears. Many people find that when they make these connections, it's like a light bulb goes on. They finally understand why they do the things they do, and that understanding is incredibly empowering. So you have started to identify some of your lingering childhood fears. You are beginning to see how they might be showing up in your adult life. That is wonderful progress. Now, what can you actually do about these fears? How can you stop them from running your life? This is where we get into some really practical and empowering techniques. We are going to talk about how to challenge and reframe these old fears. The first thing to understand is that many of these childhood fears, while they made sense back then, are not actually true or relevant for you as a capable adult today. Your adult self has resources, skills, and strengths that your child self did not have. So the first step in challenging a fear is to question its validity now. When that old fear pops up, when you feel that anxiety or that urge to avoid something, try to step back for a moment and ask yourself some questions. For example, if you have a fear of failure and you are about to try something new, you might ask yourself, is it really true that if I fail at this one thing, it means I am a total failure as a person? Is that thought 100% accurate right now? Or what is the actual worst thing that could happen if I try this and it doesn't work out perfectly? Will I survive it? Often, when we really look at the fear with our adult eyes, we see that the catastrophic outcome our inner child is imagining is not very likely, or not nearly as bad as the fear makes it seem. Another powerful technique is to gather evidence against the fear. Your fear is based on an old belief. For example, the fear of judgment might be based on an old belief that if I show my true self, people will reject me. As an adult, you can look for evidence in your current life that contradicts this old belief. Think about times when you did show your true self and people accepted you. Think about people in your life who love and support you for who you are. Write these examples down. Keep a list. When the old fear of judgment comes up, you can look at your list and remind yourself, wait a minute, that old belief isn't always true. Here is proof that I am accepted and liked for being me. This helps to weaken the old fear. Creating coping statements is another great tool. A coping statement is a short, positive, and realistic sentence that you can say to yourself when a fear gets triggered. It helps to calm your nervous system and remind you of your strength. So, for example, if you have a fear of conflict and you have to have a difficult conversation, your coping statement might be, I can handle this. I can speak my truth calmly and respectfully. It is okay for me to have different opinions. Or if you have a fear of not being enough, your coping statement might be, I am doing my best, and my best is good enough. I am worthy of love and respect just as I am. Say these statements to yourself often, especially when you feel the fear rising. Write them down and put them where you can see them. Challenging and reframing your fears is like having a kind but firm conversation with that scared part of you. You are not dismissing the fear. You are acknowledging that it is there, that it once had a reason to be there. But you are also gently showing it that things are different now. You are a grown-up now. You have more resources now. You are stronger now. You are teaching that scared part of you that it doesn't have to be in charge anymore. You, the adult, can handle things. This process takes practice, but it is so empowering. Many skilled people use these cognitive techniques to change their relationship with fear. It's about changing your thoughts to change your feelings and your actions. As we work on challenging and reframing those old childhood fears, another incredibly important piece of the puzzle is building a sense of inner safety. So many of these fears developed because as children, we didn't always feel safe, emotionally or sometimes even physically. So as adults, we need to consciously create that feeling of safety within ourselves. When you feel truly safe and secure from the inside, those old fears have much less power over you. How do we build this inner safety? One of the most powerful ways is through self-compassion. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and support that you would offer to a good friend who is struggling. When that old fear comes up, instead of criticizing yourself for feeling scared or telling yourself to just get over it, try to be kind. You might say to yourself, it's okay that I'm feeling this fear. It's understandable, given my past experiences. I am here for myself. I will get through this. This kindness soothes that scared inner child part of you. It helps it feel seen and understood, which is often what it needed most back then. Self-compassion practices are a cornerstone of emotional healing. Another way to build inner safety is to build self-trust. This means learning to trust your own abilities, your own judgment, and your own resilience. Many childhood fears leave us doubting ourselves. We might feel like we can't handle things, or that we will always make mistakes. To build self-trust, start by acknowledging your strengths and your past successes, no matter how small they seem. Keep a list of times you overcame a challenge, or handled a difficult situation well. Remind yourself that you are capable. Celebrating small courages is also a wonderful way to build inner safety and self-trust. When you are working on overcoming old fears, every little step you take outside your comfort zone is an act of courage. Maybe you spoke up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet. Maybe you said no to something you didn't want to do. Maybe you tried something new even though you were scared of failing. Acknowledge these moments. Tell yourself, wow, that was brave of me. I did it, even though I was scared. These small celebrations build your confidence. They show that scared part of you that you can face your fears and be okay. They prove to your inner child that you, the adult, are there to protect it and guide it. Creating a supportive inner environment is also key. Pay attention to your self-talk. Is your inner voice mostly critical and harsh, or is it kind and encouraging? Try to consciously cultivate a more supportive inner dialogue. When you make a mistake, instead of beating yourself up, try saying, it's okay, everyone makes mistakes. What can I learn from this? Be your own best cheerleader. Practices like mindfulness and meditation can also help you build inner safety. They teach you to stay present with your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. They help you create a calm space inside yourself, a place you can return to when you feel scared or anxious. Building inner safety is an ongoing process. It's about consistently showing up for yourself with kindness, understanding, and support. It's about teaching that scared child part of you that it is finally safe, that it is loved, and that you, the capable adult, are here to take care of things now. When your inner child starts to feel truly safe with you, it will relax. And when it relaxes, those old fears will begin to lose their grip. Many people find this to be a deeply healing part of the journey. Now we have talked about understanding our fears, challenging them, and building inner safety. There is one more important concept to touch on when we talk about overcoming deep-seated fears. It is the idea of gradual exposure. This is a very effective technique that therapists often use. But the basic idea is something we can all understand and even start to apply gently in our own lives. Gradual exposure simply means facing your fears in small, manageable steps instead of trying to conquer them all at once. If you are terrified of something, trying to jump into the deep end right away can be overwhelming and might even make the fear worse. Gradual exposure is about taking baby steps. Let's say you have a fear of public speaking. The idea of giving a big presentation might feel completely impossible. So instead of starting there, you would break it down into much smaller, less scary steps. Maybe the first step is just to imagine yourself speaking confidently to 1 or 2 people. Then, maybe you practice saying a few sentences out loud when you are alone. Then, maybe you speak up for a few seconds in a very small, safe group. Each step is just a little bit outside your comfort zone, but not so far that it feels terrifying. As you successfully complete each small step, you build a little bit of confidence. You show yourself, hey, I did that, and I was okay. This helps to reduce the fear associated with the situation. It's like your brain is learning a new message. This thing I was scared of, it's actually not as dangerous as I thought. The key with gradual exposure is to go at your own pace. It's important to challenge yourself a little, but not to push yourself so hard that you become overwhelmed. It's about finding that sweet spot between your comfort zone and your panic zone. That is where learning and growth happen. And it's also very important to celebrate each small success along the way. Every time you take one of those small steps, even if it feels tiny, acknowledge your courage. This reinforces the positive learning. This concept can be applied to many different kinds of fears. If you have a fear of conflict, maybe a small step is just to state a simple preference, like, actually, I'd rather watch this movie than that one, instead of always agreeing. If you have a fear of judgment, maybe a small step is to share one small, authentic thought with a trusted friend. The idea of gradual exposure is not about forcing yourself to do things that feel terrible. It is about gently and systematically teaching your nervous system that you can handle these situations, that you are safe. Over time, as you take these small, courageous steps, the fear begins to lessen. The things that once seemed impossible start to feel more manageable. This is a very powerful way to reclaim your life from old fears. We are not going into a live demo here, but understanding this concept is very valuable. Many skilled therapists guide people through this process, but even understanding the idea can help you think about how you might gently start to face some of your own smaller fears. So we have covered a lot of ground today on our journey to understand and overcome childhood fears. We started by seeing how these fears, often born from a need to feel safe when we were young, can stick with us into adulthood and run our lives in ways we don't even realize. We looked at common fears like abandonment, failure, judgment, conflict, and not being enough, and how they can show up as anxiety, procrastination, people-pleasing, relationship issues, or plain small. But most importantly, we talked about how you can start to change these patterns. We explored the power of challenging those old fear-based thoughts, questioning their truth in your adult life, and gathering evidence that you are, in fact, capable and safe now. We talked about creating new, supportive coping statements to guide you. We highlighted the incredible importance of building a sense of inner safety through self-compassion, self-trust, and celebrating your small acts of courage. And we touched on the concept of gradual exposure, facing your fears in small, manageable steps. The main message we want you to leave with is this: fear is a normal part of being human. It is not about trying to get rid of fear completely. That's not realistic or even desirable, as fear can sometimes protect us. The goal is to learn to manage your fear, to understand where it comes from, and to not let those old childhood fears dictate your choices, and limit your life as an adult. You have the power to do this. You can learn to soothe that scared inner child part of you. You can learn to challenge the old stories. You can build new strengths and new ways of responding. You can conquer these fears, not by fighting them, but by understanding them, being kind to them, and then bravely choosing to live your life more fully anyway. This journey of overcoming childhood fears is a profound act of self-love and liberation. It allows you to unlock so much more of your potential, your joy, and your ability to connect authentically with others. Many skilled people have walked this path, and they have found so much freedom on the other side. We sincerely hope this video has given you valuable insights, practical tools, and a renewed sense of hope that you can indeed conquer the fears that may still be running your life. If this information resonated with you, if it sparked something within you, we would be truly grateful if you would give this video a like. It helps our channel reach more people who might be struggling with these same issues and looking for support. And we would love to hear from you in the comments below. What is one childhood fear you recognize might still be affecting you today? Or what is one small step of courage you feel inspired to take after watching this? Your sharing can be so powerful, not just for you, but for others in our community who are on a similar journey. If you are ready to dive deeper into healing these old wounds and want more structured guidance, tools, and techniques, we invite you to explore our name of course or guide, e.g. Fearless Living Blueprint or Childhood Fear Breakthrough course. It is designed to walk you step by step through this transformative process. You can find more information about it using the link in the description below. And of course, if you want to continue learning with us and get more insights for personal growth, emotional healing, and creating a life you love, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we release new videos. We are committed to providing you with practical, empowering content. If you are facing personal struggles and feel you would benefit from a more direct connection, or if you have questions about your specific situation, please feel free to reach out to us on our Instagram or TikTok. You can find the links in the description below this video. We are here to support you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you are stronger than your fears. You are capable of healing, and you deserve to live a life filled with courage, joy, and freedom. Take care of yourself, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.